You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Despite threatening to veto, President Trump signs an over $1 trillion spending bill. More shakeups in the White House, porn stars, playmates, and that doesn't cover the half of it. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the week in Washington in a moment. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. As students from across the Suncoast and around the nation prepare to rally in Washington to demand something be done about school and gun violence, Sarasota County is introducing a new 5-point safety plan at all its schools. At the end of this school year, a new school resource deputy program will be implemented, putting a permanent armed guard on every campus from elementary to high school. The district says it is still working with the sheriff's office to determine the details of who these guards will be, off-duty or retired or newly trained officers.
I haven't formulated a full opinion on that. My bottom line is I'd like to keep the kids safe, and whatever measures the ones in charge take, I will, support.
The district is also working with the sheriff's office to implement a school guardian program. This would allow certain school employees to be armed under specific criteria. More drama unfolding at the Manatee County School Board. Now, one member is calling for a re-election of the board's chair and vice chair following a dispute in the parking lot. At a meeting that was supposed to be focused on the termination hearing for a school bus driver, board member Charlie Kennedy added an unexpected item to the agenda to re-elect a new chair and vice chair. The motion comes after board chair Scott Hopes and board member Dave Miner got into an argument in the district parking lot following another meeting. The dispute escalated, Hopes claiming Miner tried to run him over with his car, then mentioning a gun in his car to police, which was then investigated.
This is about, in a time of heightened awareness and fear, it was just the wrong time to reference a firearm on school board property. That's all this breaks down to.
I am more than offended by the basis with which you're making the motion. Sergeant Donnelly was present when I immediately went to him. He knew the fear that I was exposed to.
After arguing about the re-election for 2.5 hours, the board tabled the issue until next meeting on April 10th. Police were called to backup emergency services last night for a violent patient. The 2 officers wound up injured and the patient under arrest. Chad Washington had outstanding warrants for his arrest. He was attempted to slam the front door on police. Police officers pushed the door open, and Washington allegedly punched one of the officers in the face and bit him on the thigh. After a backup arrived, Washington was arrested, and the officer who was bit and punched was taken to SMH. It appears this time James Buchanan will have some competition in the Republican primary for State House 74. Northport's Vice Mayor Linda Yates will also be running for the seat. The district includes the cities of Northport and Venice, as well as Englewood, Nokomis, and South Sarasota County. The District 74 seat will be coming open because Representative Julio Gonzalez is running for Congress. Florida's jobless rate is remaining steady. The state's unemployment rate for February was 3.9%. That's lower than the national rate of 4.1%. There are about 398,000 unemployed out of a workforce of nearly 10.2 million. However, Florida's overall growth rate for the last 12 months was 2%, which was the 10th highest in the nation. A controversy over Florida's landmark tobacco settlement and how money should be spent has been snuffed out. Florida's Constitution Revision Commission will no longer consider a proposed amendment eliminating a requirement that the state set aside a 30% of overall tobacco education and prevention funding for an edgy advertising and marketing campaign.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So we feel it's more important to prevent the kids from starting to smoking than to have them incur the disease and then worry about it later in life.
Voters put the tobacco spending mandate in the Constitution in 2006 after the legislature drastically cut back funding for the advertising campaign. $8 million to combat toxic algae blooms has been passed by the U.S. Congress. The funding bill is on its way to President Trump's desk to be signed. Red tide has hit the Suncoast hard in the past few weeks. 4 different beaches have been reported to have death of fish due to the red tide. Red tide has also contributed to 166 manatee deaths so far this year. Harmful algae blooms have caused $82 million in economic losses to seafood restaurants and tourism industries each year in the United States. And now let's head over to meteorologist Steve Newman with the First Alert forecast. Steve.
Hey, Alan, we have a change in the air. You kind of feel it. Those northeast winds are starting to slacken off, and over the weekend they're going to turn more southerly. The humidity will go up a little bit, but it's not going to be humid at all. It's just going to be comfortable all weekend long. And the warming trend has already started. You can see in this 24-hour temperature change map, 7 degrees warmer than it was at 7 o'clock yesterday at Tampa and Fort Myers. And across our viewing area, pretty close to 5 or 6 degrees warmer now than it was 24 hours ago. Currently at the airport, over a beautiful view of Sarasota Bay. Sunset looks like it's going to be spectacular in about a half hour. 66 is the current temperature. The dew point 42. It's probably going to go back down into the 30s tonight, so it'll feel crisp, but we're not going to be in the 40s anymore for overnight lows, at least not along the immediate coast. I think closer to 50 degrees tonight. Inland areas could be a little cooler than that, though. And that cool, dry air is continuing to blow over us, but high pressure will sink over us, making winds turn more calm on Saturday and then more southerly on Sunday. So it's going to be pretty good all weekend long. Look at the radar scopes. Nothing is coming in. There's not a single drop of rain falling anywhere within the Sunshine State. And our evening planner, not as cool tonight, but with the stars out at night and the wind slackening off, should be great to go out on the town. Temperatures cooling off, though, very quickly. The air being dry allows the temperature to just fall like a stone when the sun goes down. So right after sunset, it will get chilly.
Nothing to complain about except for maybe the lack of rain.
And by the way, the kids in Washington, D.C., it's going to be in the 30s in the morning. It's going to be around 48 in time for the march in Washington.
But they will heat it up.
That's right, and it'll be dry.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve. And still to come, where is all the $1.3 trillion budget going towards? Stay with us.
Thanks to all of you who participated in ABC7's Caribbean Cruise Giveaway Contest. Join us as we celebrate our grand prize winner, Joy Schwakowski of Northport. Married for 13 years in June, Joy and her husband, Don, are excited to celebrate their anniversary on a spectacular 7-night luxury Caribbean cruise for 2. Congratulations, Joy and Don. Bon voyage. ABC7, we're here for you.
It's time to take a road trip.
Alabama's got 100 road trips. And if you love the sun, you're gonna love Mobile, where Mardi Gras is king, and the accommodations will make you feel like royalty. You can take a little drive, explore Dauphin Island, or explore the past. We're talking the USS Alabama. Check out these big guns. Alabama's got 100 road trips. Plan yours at alabama.travel.
Which one you gonna take?
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky. Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC7, weekdays starting at 5.
President Trump has signed a $1.3 trillion spending bill to keep the federal government open, and he does not sound too happy about it. CNN's Caitlin Collins explains.
Just 4 hours after he threatened to veto the $1.3 trillion spending bill to fund the federal government through September, President Trump called the press in for a last-minute venting session Friday and issued a stern warning to Congress.
But I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. I'm not going to do it again. Nobody read it. It's only hours old.
The president expressed his disdain for the budget-busting bill, calling the whole process ridiculous.
There are a lot of things that I'm unhappy about in this bill. There are a lot of things that we shouldn't have had in this bill, but we were, in a sense, forced. If we want to build our military, we were forced to have.
But he backed away from his threat this morning, delivered by tweet, that he might veto the bill.
I looked very seriously at the veto. I was thinking about doing the veto, but because of the incredible gains that we've been able to make for the military, that overrode any of our thinking.
The bill includes huge increases in domestic and military spending that Trump had lobbied for.
Ships, planes, helicopters, tanks, and submarines. We have submarines being built, the likes of which there's nothing anywhere in the world like the submarines we build.
But it only allocates a small portion of the $25 billion the administration asked for to build a border wall.
Not happy with $1.6 billion, but it does start the wall, and we will make that $1.6 billion go very, very far.
All this as the president is creating chaos elsewhere in the White House with his surprise decision to replace National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster with the more hawkish John Bolton, making this his third National Security Advisor in just 14 months. That after he fired Secretary of State Rex Tillerson last week, leaving the cabinet with just one moderate voice in his Defense Secretary James Mattis. The president's latest personnel moves could signal a sharp shift to the right in his foreign policy, ahead of a potential meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, an upcoming deadline on the Iran nuclear deal, and a looming trade war over tariffs.
China is going to end up treating us fairly. For many years they had free reign. They don't have free reign anymore.
But wait, there's more. President Trump's plan to shake up his legal team is already facing challenges, with two sources familiar with the matter telling CNN that newly hired attorney Joe DeGeneva's role is in flux. One source claiming he hasn't even officially been hired. DeGeneva has pushed conspiracy theories that President Trump was framed by the Department of Justice.
In a moment, the man behind the most cutting-edge conservative website in the entire state of Florida, the most dynamic and persuasive Democratic chairwoman in the Sunshine State, and the most respected political correspondent on the Suncoast when we take it to the trapezoid.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740. Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Welcome back. A $1 trillion+ spending bill, tariffs against China, looming trade wars, a porn star, playmate, McMaster fired, Bolton hired. The president needs a new defense lawyer. Did you look up and wave as Air Force One just flew by us? The president on his way to Mar-a-Lago. He just landed after an exhausting week that isn't over quite yet. Stormy Daniels' interview airs on Sunday on 60 Minutes. But how do we all separate that reality show from the real impact of the new spending plan and sticking it to China and the tariffs? As we said, the president needs a new lawyer in the Russia case, quitting, and the questions all above might have all on the congressional and state house races here on the Suncoast. Joining us for more is Rod Thompson, who is with the RevolutionaryAct.com, Cheryl Wilson, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and Jacob Ogles, political professor.
Yeah, why not?
Editor at SRQ Magazine. Okay, well, I mean, I'm out of breath because there's just so much has gone on this week. But let's start with the top story: $1.3 trillion in spending. And Rod, you know, John Kennedy, who is the senator from Louisiana, Republican, said he feels like this is mushroom politics. He was kept in the dark and fed manure.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. This is the worst way to run a government and to build a budget. You put together 2,200 pages of budget information, which is thick and difficult to get through, and then you give essentially 1,000 minutes for Congress to read it and review it and look at it.
This is a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican President. This is what you wanted for many years.
So as you know, of course, for a budget, it does take 60 votes. So they had to get 9 Democrat votes. And that's part of the deal. I think in that deal, to get those 9 Democrat votes, they gave away everything except the increased defense spending. This budget is so bad for Republicans that I think when you see Mitch McConnell and you see Chuck Schumer laughing and slapping each other on the back, you know that we all just got robbed.
But you know, and we did. Keep in mind, a lot of our wonderful dedicated viewers are Republicans just like you, and they cringe when we criticize this Congress and this president too much.
Well, I think that I don't think they need to now, because this is bad, and I can give you the measurements for it. When you have Rush Limbaugh saying Trump stabbed me in the back, when you have Ann Coulter saying President Schumer got a great deal, when I was listening to some talk radio today so that I could get a feedback on it, overwhelmingly negative. These are base voters. Same thing with the people I'm talking to around here, base voters. This would be the one thing that could really help Democrats in November is if we depress Republicans. This budget could do it.
Cheryl, is this a great deal for Democrats because this has over $1 billion for a border wall you do not want? And it does nothing to deal with the DACA
I'm not worried
kids.
about that, Alan, because Mexico will pay for that wall. So that money's not in there for us.
I didn't see the line item for that.
Didn't find that. I think Trump was trying to make this just a continuation of his I'm going to say it, hate policies to harm others, and he reverted back to the expense of the military to pull him out, to base it on. The only thing that I can say in defense is that Democrats hung tough on some of the things that have always been important to Democrats. It isn't anything new that we want to fight the opioid crisis. It's nothing new that we want to protect the environment. So some of those cuts that he wanted to see didn't happen, and I think that's where the Democrats came through.
Jacob, what do you make out of it that yesterday, or late yesterday, early this morning, the White House was saying the president will sign this, and then there's a little bit of drama where the president comes out and says, well, not so fast, I may not sign this, and then he does sign it. And it kind of led a lot of people in the administration and out of it kind of, wondering what was going on.
Well, I think what you have here is kind of this violent clash between the message that the president was elected on and the practicality of getting something through Washington. The whole drain the swamp message was about how people just don't like the way Washington works. Many of the things that Rod is talking about right now are it's why there's a distaste for the federal government at a broad level, certainly among the president's base. He was very much the anti-establishment candidate coming in, and here we see what's basically an establishment bill come out of Congress. What can he do? Can he veto the budget? I'll tell you, that creates a whole lot of issues with kicking that back to Congress. But to sign it means, in some degree, going against everything he stood for on the campaign trail.
We only have a few seconds, but Jacob referenced the swamp, which Republicans like to talk about. But again, Rod, this is a Republican House and Senate.
Clearly,
and
there's a
White
lot
House.
of Republicans that are part of the swamp. I tweeted out last night on this that it's official, the swamp is undrainable. This was the opportunity to really make some changes. I think this budget is showing we're not making those changes. Look, he didn't even get real border wall stuff. That is barely a drop in the bucket. Sanctuary cities, going to get all of their money. Planned Parenthood's going to get all of its money. Okay. Bad deal. Good Democratic budget,
Obviously, we have only scratched the surface here, and we'll have much more on the Week in Washington right after we check the First Alert weather, so stay with us.
If you're between 50 and 85 years old, call the number on your screen right now for free information on how to save your family thousands of dollars. We're Family Love Plans, and we've been helping families just like yours for over 30 years. The average funeral today can cost up to $10,000 or more, but the most you'll get from government benefits is just $255. How will your family pay the difference? At Family Love Plans, we can help you and your family. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam and your plan can't be canceled. Better still, your rate will never go up and your benefits will never go down. Get your free information about our senior plans. Just answer a few simple questions and receive approval right over the phone.
Call 1-800-707-3608. That's 1-800-707-3608.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
Our conversation on the Week in Washington continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Newman. Steve.
Hi, Alan. You could feel the change in the air today. The winds were calming down. It's still dry out there, and it's going to be dry most of the weekend, but it's going to get warmer. What a great day to be out on the bay. Sarasota Bay can see the boats darting back and forth, and a sunset just about occur in about 20 minutes time from now. And the 23rd of March is World Meteorological Day. It's sponsored every year on this date by the World Meteorological Organization. And the theme this year is Weather Ready, Climate Smart, which I think is appropriate for us here on the Sun Coast because, of course, we have to be weather ready for thunderstorms and lightning and hurricanes, of course, but climate smart too because the threat climate change poses to us here and rising sea level, acid acidification, and also the possibility of more intense storms. So I hope you enjoyed World Meteorological Day as much as I did. Currently at the airport, 66, 44 or 42 degrees is the dew point. So it's very dry. Our humidity 42% with the northwest winds still kicking in there at 12 miles an hour, but it will subside tomorrow. 74, the high this afternoon. Last night's low 44, still cooler than normal on both counts. It's been as warm as 88 back in 2007. Now, our temperatures across the state are slowly recovering from this little chill we had yesterday and this morning. We're in the 40s, mid-40s in many places this morning. I don't think we're going to see that again for the rest of the season. I think we've broken winter's grips on the Sun Coast. Current temperature 73 at Fort Myers and across our viewing area, 60s just about everywhere except hanging in the 70s in Highlands County and interior parts of Sarasota and Manatee. We do have a fire weather warning in effect for about another hour and a half because of this extended period of dry weather and low humidities for Manatee County, not Sarasota, not Hardy, not DeSoto, not Hillsborough, but for some reason Pinellas County and Charlotte as well. But even though the warnings were going to go down at 9, it's still very dry. Be very careful all weekend long, especially tomorrow. Looking at satellite images, it's going to be an award-winning weekend with mostly sunny skies, dry air, and across the nation, fairly quiet right now, except right in the heartland. We have a little bit of warmth coming up, triggering some thunderstorms and snow in the Rockies. And there's some showers around Washington, D.C. for the kids marching tomorrow in Washington. It's going to be chilly in the morning, 30s, about 38 to 42, I think, by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning as they start to gather. Current temperatures right now 46 in New York City, 54 at Raleigh, as warm as 77 Dallas, and 62 in Los Angeles. These are my headlines. What you should remember for this weekend ahead. It's not going to be as cool tonight, and it's going to be warmer over the weekend too, and warmer still early next week. And that fire danger is slowly easing up, but still be careful. Here's our futurecast. High pressure in control, and as it comes over us, the winds will subside. Instead of being from the northeast, they're going to switch around to the southerly direction on late Saturday and Sunday, pumping in warmer air from the south. That front will not reach us. One out west will on Tuesday of next week, but it's not going to be much of anything. Here's my forecast for tonight. Clear and cool with a few high clouds from time to time. 50, the overnight low temperature, and tomorrow a sunny and beautiful day. This is going to be about the best weekend you can imagine. High 77. And your 7-day outlook shows 2 days of 77 with mild weather, a little bit warmer on Monday, and then that cool front comes through Tuesday, dropping off the overnight lows a few degrees, but daytime highs are going to hover in there right about 80 degrees. Alan will be back with his guest in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
According to a new survey by U.S. News and World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality, we just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
One of the motivating factors for me to become a Big Brother was that I was mentored as a youth. And it was important for me to kind of pass forward the things that were kind of given to me. It's really just as simple as getting to know a kid. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have any of those other things. You just have to be willing to spend a little time and help mold some young person's life.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Welcome back. We're talking about the week in Washington, and joining us for more is Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, Cheryl Wilson, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and Jacob Ogles, political editor of SRQ magazine. If you could see all the papers on the trapezoid here, there is so much going on right now, and we got to start with what's been happening. You know, it's almost like I don't even know how to explain it. Last night, a Playboy playmate did a long interview about her alleged affair with Donald Trump before he was president. Coming up tonight, or Sunday night on 60 Minutes, is Stormy Daniels. And people may say this is superficial stuff. Rod, with the Stormy Daniels situation, at least there is a legal aspect to that, and that is if she was paid off to prevent something from coming up 2 weeks before the election, and that's the way election laws work. If a campaign receives something that is something of value to them, that's an election law violation. That's the legal issue. But it seems whether you're watching, 60 Minutes or The Playmate, you want to take a shower.
So the legal issue is a bunch of a series of ifs and a lot of hopefuls. So I don't really see that as a big deal. Certainly not something that most Americans care about. The issue with Trump and his dalliances with women that are not his wife is pretty well established, and I think baked into the cake. I don't think that changes a lot of people. I don't like it at all. I think it's morally reprehensible for a married man to be doing that. But he's not the first president.
Right. But you have written about this that as much as you are disgusted by it, there is a bigger picture, and it's the Supreme Court, and it's a lot of other things. But obviously, the other side looks at that kind of position with hypocrisy, because a lot of conservatives talk about family values, and this stuff, if true, is flat out disgusting.
Yes, it's flat out disgusting. Like I said, it's morally reprehensible. And you're right. I mean, it's not hard to look at us and see hypocrisy there. However, you always have to remember, number one, for me, President Trump was my last choice in the Republican primary, but he was my only choice and easily my only choice in the general. And that's where a lot of Republicans came down. If it was between our least favorite Republican being elected president or Hillary Clinton, it was a no-brainer for us. It was going to be Donald Trump. And his policies in 2017 have proven that out.
You know, I think that we as Democrats could say the very same thing. This is surreal to think that we're sitting here talking about a president's relationship with a porn star and with a playmate. But it is about other things. It is about the Supreme Court. I would make that very same argument, that there are other considerations that this president has just completely put the country and our institutions in jeopardy. So the fact that he won't step up and end this issue with the porn stars and the Playboy bunnies is just allowing him to take the focus off what he's not getting done or what he's trying to get done and for a while at least failing at.
Jacob, does this hurt the president in any kind of way in an area like this?
In an area like this, it might be less likely to hurt the president, but I think the real issue is that it hurts a lot of the Republicans who are standing by the president. And that's the real reason Democrats are making a lot of noise about these issues right now. It's about being able to look at a lot of Republicans, many of whom voted to impeach President Bill Clinton over his sordid moral problems. And it's just a way of calling them hypocrites as we're going into the midterms.
But you know, Bill Clinton was impeached on the charge of lying.
Right, lying under oath.
He was, yes, lying under oath. He was not impeached upon the issue of what he did with an intern.
So is the bottom line getting the president to a deposition on one of these cases?
Which is why we've, people like me saying he cannot ever talk to Mueller.
I'm not talking about Mueller. I'm talking about
Congress.
Stormy
if Bill Clinton, who was going to try and break down the meaning of is, got caught up doing it, then clearly Trump would be caught up somehow.
But the $130,000 that you alluded to that may be campaign funds,
but that's a lot of ifs and hopes.
That's something that needs to be investigated.
All right, White House comings and goings. The National Security Advisor out. Just a couple of days after the president said the National Security Advisor was in, he's being replaced by John Bolton, John Bolton is known as a very smart but very strident person who, you know, has a lot of people worried. Rod?
No, he shouldn't. They shouldn't be worried about him. Bolton has shown himself to be smart and right a lot of the time. He is certainly more hawkish than his predecessor.
He's called for a war with North Korea and perhaps Iran.
In the right context. You see, here's the thing with Bolton, and I think that this is where he fits with Trump a lot better. And that's that he believes that negotiating with our enemies and those that are dangerous to us from a position of strength gives us a better negotiating position than negotiating through giving them whatever they want, which is what the previous administration and the North Korea administrations have done. So in that way, he is much more aligned. I think when you have Pompeo at State and you have Bolton as NSA, you actually now have a much more competent and more presidentially aligned group in the White House there and at the State Department than you had before. It probably should work better, really.
Cheryl, both sides say that a president, any president, deserves to have whoever he wants in those kinds of positions. So what's the big deal?
This president had that opportunity when he first took office and when he first appointed a cabinet, and I think he's absolutely demonstrated that he can't select, he can't vet, he can't work with the people that he has. So I think we all need to get used to this game of musical chairs.
Jacob, what is the bigger story this week? The departure of General McMaster and the arrival of Mr. Bolton, or the fact that the president's lead attorney quit this week over disagreements with the president on how to deal with the special counsel?
I feel like the changes in his cabinet ought to be bigger news. But it's worth paying attention to what's happening with the attorney, because long term, those are the type of legal turns and manipulations and maneuvers that may lead to what Rod was sort of referencing, which was you really don't want to see the president, if you're a supporter of the president, getting caught up in some type of legal trap and testifying in situations. It is very unlikely that Donald Trump is going to be any more contained on a grand jury stand than he is when he's sitting at 4 in the morning on his cell phone.
Isn't it just, again, a further indication of the way Donald Trump approaches things and perhaps the way Donald Trump governs or makes decisions? He can't stay with a legal team in the Russia investigation. He can't stay with a cabinet member. It's just representative of Donald Trump's personality.
Okay. Talking about the Russia investigation per se, Cambridge Analytica, this is an organization that went to work for the Trump campaign, worked for Ted Cruz beforehand, got a hold of so many of our backgrounds from Facebook. It is a mess there. And Rod, as someone who is interested in good campaigning and good elections, does any of this trouble you?
Not at all, because this is, as somebody that also works in social media and understands how social media works and how Facebook makes money, this is what we would be expecting from campaigns. As a matter of fact, it's not so dissimilar from what President Obama brilliantly did, his team did in 2012. Data mining off social media is the way to run campaigns and the way to target people.
Right.
And that's what they did. All that information is voluntarily given to Facebook.
That's right. But here is where it ties into the Russia investigation, because the question, Cheryl, becomes whether Facebook ads by Russian bots were directed by the information that the Trump campaign got from Cambridge Analytica and perhaps the Russians.
And apparently now we know that some of the players were working for the Russians. But you know, I'm going to be somewhat sympathetic to what Rob is saying. If you go on to social media and you find what your constant stream of information is, don't be surprised that it tells you what you want to hear. It's the question that I think gets your attention is Facebook's role in providing that information.
And Jacob, is anybody that you know around here on the Suncoast becoming, you know, this is the end of Facebook, or really care about what they're hearing this week?
I do think people care about their privacy, and I certainly think that what Cheryl was just noting about Facebook's role in this being a bigger issue than any political operation is significant. I think people care about their privacy. You just saw Rihanna tweet something to turn everybody off Snapchat, and that affected the stock of Snapchat last week. So that's what's going to happen.
All right, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back. We'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
My name is Stefan Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in a car accident, the state of Florida only gives you a specific amount of time to file a claim. So act now, give us a call.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. I'm going to lump two things together. A new poll that says by Quinnipiac that by a 55-42 margin, people say President Trump does not have a good sense of decency. And that comes to, together with growing concern about how the Republicans will do in the midterm, the number of Republican retirements, and Larry Savaldo writes, because seats lacking and incumbent or more difficult to fill for the incumbent party to retain, the situation should be deeply worrying to the GOP. Rod?
Right, so it is, obviously, because the average loss in a president in power's first term, midterm, is like 2 or 3 more seats than the Republicans' majority right now. So that alone is one big indicator. The things you mentioned, the Pennsylvania race that was plus 20 for Trump that the guy picked up. The thing is, that was 2 Republicans running. One had a D after his name, if you look at the campaigns of them. So there's some counter issues there that I think run against it. And one is Typically, Americans are very big on voting their pocketbook. If the economy is really strong, tax cuts have kicked in, so the president's given them a raise, the Republicans have given them a raise, deregulation continues. If you don't have major war on the Korean Peninsula or something, which actually could benefit, but if you don't have that, the economy itself could be a counter indicator to these other ones.
All right, so Cheryl, let me put it to you, because you know, Democrats like yourself around here are energized. You're looking forward to the midterms, but on the other hand, people say, you know what, my wallet's a little bit thicker than it used to be.
Well, but you need to pay attention all the way through November. Not having war on the Korean Peninsula doesn't look nearly as likely. The not part of it doesn't look nearly as likely. Stock market has just had the worst 2 weeks in 2 years. A trade war would be devastating to the economy. Jobs, who knows? We certainly saw fewer jobs created in the first year of the Trump administration and the last several years of the Obama administration. So pay attention all the way through, and there may be big motivation for changing.
What are the odds of a real Democratic wave on the Suncoast, Jacob?
I think you need to look at it race by race. I say that anybody who's running in a district where Trump won by less than 10, you're going to have a real competition going on. If it's less than 5, it may very well end up being rich Democrat territory.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, it's expired, just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, Cheryl Wilson, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and Jacob Ogles, political editor of SRQ magazine. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, tens of thousands of students, parents, and educators are preparing to march in Washington, D.C. to make their voices heard and their demand for gun control. Stay with us.
Accolades are great. Just wait until you see our prices. Rugs as Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Thank you.
You are the best protection she has. Buddy up. I'm Jill Harrington. Please visit HelpSaveTheNextGirl.com and get involved.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Newman. Steve.
Alan, spring break is well underway, the crescendo of it right now. A lot of kids out of school, and if you head into the beach, tomorrow and Sunday will be picture perfect. An actually picture perfect sunset going on across the Suncoast right now. Sunset right now at 7:45. Currently at the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, as you can see the illumination of the sunset on the bridge fading right about now. Though 66 the temperature, it is dry, humidity only 42%. We seldom see our humidity in Florida that low with a dew point of 42 degrees. Those northwest winds will ease up. Highs this afternoon, the hotspot Punta Gorda, it's kind of tucked in there, protected from these winds coming at us from the north. That's why they were the warmest. Bradenton 69 getting a full brunt of that cool air coming from the north. Parrish 69 as well. Taking a look at our satellite view, other than a little plume of smoke from some agricultural burning just to the north of Marco Island, pretty much cloud-free over the state. You can see some clouds up north, and you can get some rain up around Jacksonville on Sunday, but it's not going to reach us at all. That buckle in the jet stream that was coddling that nor'easter's well out of the picture, is slowly weakening, and that buckle is creating a little area of warmth in the heartland that could trigger some strong storms tomorrow across Texas and the lower Mississippi Valley. Temperatures right now across the nation, not that bad. 34 at Toronto, 37 at Chicago, 65 at Denver. And for the kids gathering in Washington, D.C. for the march tomorrow, it's going to be a chilly start. At 6 a.m., it's going to be 31 degrees, 31 degrees at Washington. And by 11 o'clock, temperatures will warm up only into the low 40s, 41. So all the kids are going to need a jacket. By afternoon, temperatures around 45 degrees in our nation's capital. Taking a look at our futurecast. High pressure is in control, and it's been guiding fairly strong north, now northeasterly winds over the state. Very dry. But as this high pressure moves over us in the next 24 hours, winds will slacken off and then be fairly calm for a while until the high goes to the east of us. And then we get a southerly wind flow, bringing in warmth from the Caribbean. There's that front that may bring some rain up in far northern Florida, but it will not reach us. Way out here is another front that will reach us on Tuesday, but it has no moisture with it. It's just going to drop our overnight lows 2 or 3 degrees. Here's my forecast for tonight. It's going to be mostly clear and cool. Our overnight low temperature 50 degrees. The average is 59, so being 9 degrees cooler than normal is a rare thing for us here on the Sun Coast. Easterly winds turning northeasterly overnight, 5 miles per hour. And tomorrow, what a great day. Out on the beach temperature is going to be about 75. The water temperature is 68. Might warm up into the low 70s by Sunday or Monday with that sun shining down. But tomorrow, a sunny and warmer day, right on the money for average, with winds shifting around to the south. Hence the warmer air coming up and getting even warmer as we move into the early part of next week. And here's your 7-day outlook showing that we will have mild conditions both Saturday and Sunday. A pair of 77s, that sounds pretty lucky to me. 50 for the low, 59 for overnight lows as we move through the weekend. Then that front comes through on Tuesday. But look, it doesn't do anything for daytime highs, but it does drop the overnight lows into the 50s for a while. What about those showers late Friday? That's our next chance of rain. Not a great one. It would be early Saturday. Easter at this point looks about as nice as tomorrow will be. Alan will be back with primetime headlines in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
Monday at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Webb.
And I'm Ray Collins. It is the start of spring break in Manatee and Sarasota counties.
We'll tell you how local beaches and businesses and the roads are getting ready to handle all that extra traffic Monday on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
Our weather all week long is going to benefit from an area of high pressure that's built in. We'll talk about how warm we get this week.
Monday at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you. You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook.
So I kind of grew up all across the country. I come from 5 generations of military men. My dad is still active duty. My grandpa is retired Marines. I like going for runs with my dog. I love, taking her out to the dog beach over in Venice. There are so many things here to do on the Suncoast. My goal every day when I come into work at ABC7 is to tell your stories, give you that major local news and those details that you really care about. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and I'm here for you.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do.
Visit us at drugfree.org.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. It's gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Checking primetime headlines, hundreds of thousands of students and educators are taking their fight for gun reform to the nation's capital in the March for Our Lives. With hundreds of satellite marches across the country and the world, organizers think more than 1 million people will be participating. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
Students from across the country are making their way to Washington, D.C.
On Saturday, I am marching for our lives.
Bullets do not discriminate.
From Ohio.
This is our time. If they can't do it, then we'll do it.
Minnesota.
We're tired of dying. And it's kind of a scary, simple statement that a lot of people feel.
Missouri.
I want people to be able to go out and speak out for what they believe is right.
And the place that's serving as the beating heart of this nationwide movement, Parkland, Florida.
It's meant to galvanize the community and to inspire them and to motivate them.
Just 5 weeks after that deadly shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School took 17 lives, these students are vocal and determined.
It's been 5 weeks. Until this is actually solved, it doesn't mean much to me.
Organizers expect more than 500,000 people in D.C., including a long list of celebrities like Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus, and Jennifer Hudson. The students say they hope all of this attention will call lawmakers to action.
I really want to see some legislation change.
And they say their mission behind Saturday's march remains the same, to pass tougher gun laws and to make schools safer. March for Our Lives released this map that shows just the sheer number of satellite marches happening over the weekend, hundreds across the country and even around the world. And now many companies are jumping in to help kids get there. MTV has partnered with the NAACP to charter buses, and the New England Patriots is even loaning out their team jet. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
Craigslist says it is shutting down its personal section. The classified website announced today it will no longer operate the portion of the website that allows individuals to seek encounters with strangers. This change comes only 2 days after the Senate approved a bipartisan piece of legislation called the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, which paves the way for sex trafficking victims to sue websites that facilitate their abuse. Former U.S. Senator and Georgia Governor Zell Miller has died at the age of 86 after a battle with Parkinson's disease. Miller, a Democrat, served 2 terms as Georgia's governor in the 1990s. He was well known for his contributions to education, creating Georgia's Hope Scholarship, which provides merit-based support for higher education. Miller went on to represent Georgia in the U.S. Senate from 2000 to 2005. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.